This is an introduction to Transcendent Education. Plugging in. Transcendent education is a concept that deals directly with inspiring and generating motivation for today's students to learn. Specifically, it is trying to capture the motivation that video games inspire and incorporate it into education. Motivation seems like an obscure and missing element in modern American education. Research has varied as to why this is. Most document a rigid, unchanging educational focus on rote memorization and underdeveloped educational mandates. The loss of student attention has to compete in a world that is increasingly being designed to gain their attention. Loss of concentration can be combated with integrating game design ideologies with traditional methods of education. The basic concept rests with research that has explored the levels of heightened interest that players of video and computer games possess while playing. It is this interest that should be redirected for education. Game design is used to provide motivation, interest, and such educational theory-based influences, such as self-determination theory, situational cues, and reactive expectations. These factors have been found to be crucial to evolved critical thought and deeper learning. They effectively generate deeper levels of interest due to personal investment on the part of the player, as well as being factors that generate overall enjoyment. So, what are other factors of enjoyment that would benefit integration of games and education? Traditionally, the aspects that people seem to swing towards most involve novelty and beauty. Novelty in design would make sure it doesn't resemble other methods of education. Beauty involves all things that are aesthetically pleasing. Designers of games, software, and other technology-heavy content have cited that successful motivation to become involved in something is consistently involved the novelty of something being new and the beauty inherent in the design itself. This thought evolves to a creation of not so much player style identities, but a step beyond to what these player styles actually identify, which is what pleasure impulses these games inspire in players. So they become pleasure based entities. Human beings prefer pattern recognition of matters that involve an element of pleasure and enjoyment. This leads back to intrinsic motivation, which is key to deeper learning. The aspects of game design that can create these interactive environments and develop pleasure-based identities are high levels of pattern recognition. Basic game design models involve levels of challenge, either from novice to expert or smaller increments. Players can rate their level of skill and determine expertise within the game world. Game goals and objectives provide an interactive level of degrees of focus. One of the keys to pleasure and enjoyment is a sense of challenge. The scoring system in most games acts as a method of earned rewards and allows players to track progress if this is key to their enjoyment. Video games are most known for their high levels of interaction, the highest through a technology-based medium. On overall win or loss condition, gives the game merit and gives the player a clear-cut set of rules and opportunities to develop an understanding of the logic within the game world. Through this, players are allowed to create unique solutions to game world problems. The nature of being able to create a working solution that is unique and creative is one of the key aspects of game enjoyment. The irony is that this result is a form of developing complex problem solving skills, which education tries to instill. The most successful methods of developing interest can lie in tapping into pre existing pleasure notes. Historically, music has rated highly as a medium that brings people high levels of enjoyment. The overall style leads back into thoughts of creations being novel and inherently beautiful within their own right. Last but not least is socialization and enabling a person to have feedback and involvement with others, a key to pleasure and education. These methods develop intrinsic and extrinsic motivation at the same time. The crucial aspect of this method lies in determining student identities. This can be accomplished by screening students with surveys and questionnaires, gauging playstyles and user identities. Instructors can then create teams based on player and user strengths and weaknesses so that each group is diverse. Students should then create individual and group presentations to explain the points of interaction that benefited them the most. Students can be placed into profiles by use of letting them define and express musical preferences. Types of art can be gathered and displayed as well as asking the student to define what they define as beauty in the world. This not only allows the instructor to build a profile of the student, but it opens the doorway for the student to begin to determine what their pleasure-based identities are and begin to relate them to in-classroom education. When teachers have determined pleasure-based identities and created game groups, they can employ many services to integrate games into study. There are online game creators that allow for the ability of non-game producers to create simple games. With enough work and study, many existing commercial games can be interlaced through in-class instruction and studied to determine desired effect and success. Through free social media and blog sites, students can explore and share how learning through game integration has or has not benefited their overall education, creating a living, breathing body of evidence so that others may follow suit. Simple games lead to complex ideals.